Hi, this is Stan, and welcome to Dream Bigger Visioning. This is the first part of the God-Centered Business, a foundational framework to grow with resilience. This course is designed for you to get with people so that you can have a discussion about the vision that God has given you. So there are many places for you to stop and start the video and have those discussions. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and enjoy yourself. When I first went into business, there were no jobs to be found. I was looking for a job. I was not looking for a business, and I could not find another job. I prayed about it, and I still could not find another job. After months turned into months and months turned into years, a friend said to me, you got to do something. And so I started a business that was easy to start, something I liked, out of just sheer fear of losing revenue. That did not go so well. Why did you go into business? What was your motive? Was it the lack of money, or was it one where you just felt like your self-esteem was a little low and you wanted a boost? And so you wanted to start a business and get this great feeling. Well, the motives behind that need to be addressed. Take a look at the motives and why you went into business, and then discuss that with your group, because the motives should be focused on God. There was a couple who walked into the room. Both of them had this wonderful smile on their face, and it seemed like they greeted everyone. And the whole room warmed up when they walked in the room. And I said, I want to be just like them when I grew up. And eventually I did grow up, and I was able to smile and warm the room as well. I thought about the people who influenced me to do that. And, I reached back and I wrote a letter, and it was good to connect to them again and talk to them again. When is the last time that you reached out to that influencer who you just wanted to be like? When is the last time that you said, this person was really, really wonderful, and I need to reach out to them? Why don't you take a moment, jot down a note, and reach out to that influencer, because they made you something that's special. Maybe I should think of a real cool name. So I started out with that. And then I started thinking about some nice colors and a logo. And then I thought about how I was going to brand myself and what kind of name I was going to come up with. Then I thought, okay, maybe I should be incorporated, or should I do an LLC? And then I started thinking about website names, and then I started thinking about all kinds of people I needed to get involved, and boards I needed to get on. And then I thought about what I was going to be doing in a particular business, and I started getting really, really busy building a lot of stuff. I was thinking about marketing all the time. I was staying up late at night, and I was just worn out because I had to be the accountant, I had to be the marketing person, I had to be the operations person, I had to be the janitor, I had to be the person who put things away and picked things up and started up every single night. I was exhausted. God doesn't want you exhausted. He wants to be the center of your business. God's counsel is sought first. God's control requires surrender. God's children believe in Jesus for salvation. God can do anything, anytime, anywhere. God cares about the large and small. God communicates daily. And God's currency is people. As long as you remember these principles, you'll be in good shape. The names that appeared on the front of the bus did not match the street that it was going on. And I got on the bus and I gave the bus driver my money, and I noticed that we were going down a different street. And so I was afraid to ask for help. I got off the bus. Now I didn't have any money and I was lost. I didn't know what to do. Have you ever felt lost, not knowing what to do, and now you're out of money? Well, the God-centered positioning system is here to help guide you through the process of asking God all the time, where am I and what do you want me to do? Take a look at the God-centered positioning system and see where you need to go every day. When I'm in a very thankful mood, I can think. When I'm thankful, I'm elated, I'm excited, and I can really be creative. And so when I'm thankful, I can come up with some great ideas. I have a few questions for you though. What does success look like to you? Another question that I have for you is, what does success look like to God? Does he want you to have broken relationships and be angry at customers and have poor health? No, he doesn't. Unfortunately, I had to say that to some of you because you've been chasing monetary wealth for so long that you forgot what it means to have a great, thankful relationship with God. And so why don't you take a moment to take a look at what gifts and talents God has placed in you and be really thankful about that. The second thing, or the last thing I have for you is, do you like you? If you don't like you, you may not like the people around you. And so take a look at the gifts and talents God has given you. Really dig deep and find out what you can be thankful for. What are you overlooking? What things did God place in you that you are just like, I don't like that thing, but maybe it's a gift that you're overlooking? And if it's so, why don't you take some time to write that down and discuss that with your group? When I was little, I was allowed to play in front of my house because my parents wanted to keep me safe. And that's as far as I could dream. I couldn't dream any bigger than what I could see. I wanted to go a little bit further so I can see the rest of the block, and that's as far as I could dream. I'm like, one day I'll be able to get out from in front of my house. And then one day they allowed me to go from in front of my house, and I'm like, wow, I can go up and down the block. And that's as far as I can dream. But then I had a bigger dream. I wanted to be able to see the other blocks. And then I was allowed to go to the other streets, and I wanted to see other things. But I wasn't able to really understand the depth and breadth of where God wanted to take me. I didn't know that one day I would be traveling around the world, telling people about Christ in different countries. What limits have you put on God in terms of your vision? Are you limiting your business based upon your capabilities, or your money, or your age, or where you are? Have you limited your audience because some of the hurt in your heart makes you want to only serve a certain audience? Well, I'm urging you to dream a little bit bigger than where you are and what you are doing. I'm urging you to allow God to stretch you in ways that you never would dream of. Talk about this with your group. I went to a small restaurant when I was traveling on business, and this place was packed. And I'm like, why is this place packed? I picked up the menu, and the menu didn't look like anything special. But when I ordered a sandwich and I received that sandwich, it was the best sandwich I had eaten in my life at that time. I said, oh, wow, I can see why people eat here. I went back a number of times. Every time I came back in town, it was just a place where I would stop. But then a person left, I believe, and they just started continuing to make the sandwiches, but it just didn't taste the same. What flavor are you putting in your business? Are you adding something that is very unique? Remember that thankful exercise that you did a little while ago in terms of your gifts and talents? Is there something special and unique that you're adding to the problem that you're solving that only you can solve, and that makes that flavor taste so good? What's the solution to the problem that you are providing your customers? How often does that problem happen? Why don't you discuss this with your group? Coming from corporate, I was a very, very scheduled person. I mean, I could schedule meetings to the minute, and I wanted to make sure that the meetings were facilitated to the minute. But when I went on a missions trip, I was assigned to the guy who was driving a camper. This guy did not seem to be on anyone's schedule. As a matter of fact, we were 4 hours late for an appointment. 4 hours. I was livid. And that was the best time because the people we were 4 hours late to, many of them accepted Christ. I learned so much from that camper driver, that I'm very appreciative of this day. Have you chosen a specific audience at a specific time, at a specific location, and think you're right? Have you slowed down to listen to God? Is there an us or is there a me in your decision? Why don't you take a moment and discuss this with your group? We all decided to go on a short weekend trip, so it was about 4 cars of us that were going to go horseback riding. A friend of mine let me drive her car, and I have never driven a car this fast. It was a very nice sports car, and we were in college. I had an old raggedy car that was broken down, and so I got behind the wheel of this car, and it was fantastic. I was driving fast, and I had to be first. I mean, I had to be out in front because I'm driving a sports car. It was very cool. And next thing you know, there were a bunch of policemen. It wasn't just one. It was a whole bunch of them. And one person was in the middle of the road almost, just waving everybody in and telling everybody just to pull over because we were all speeding. Do you have to be first? Do you have a me first leadership style where you don't have time to think about the person, but you just want somebody to buy your stuff? Are you worried about your bills all the time or how much money you can make? Have you thought about the solution that somebody needs, or are you just kind of just throwing something out there? Do you really care about your relationship with God? And do you have a fair business practice? And do you have what the customer needs? Why don't you take a moment and talk about this with your group? When I remodeled a kitchen by myself, I had to figure out what to do first and what to do last. And as I started getting into a rhythm of ripping everything out and getting everything prepared, I had a lot of stuff to bring in. The most important thing that I had to do on that particular project was build a doorstop. It was so valuable because I kept on trying to carry all this stuff in, and the door kept on swinging closed. And just by putting a doorstop in, that was so valuable to me because now I could do things with my hands all full, and I could get focused on the project. And so take a look at what is the most valuable thing and the smallest thing that you can do right away, and start your prioritization process and discuss this with your group. When the executives came to me and they wanted to see the results of my projects, I was excited, but I was also a little bit worried. I lost a lot of sleep over this. And so I bypassed the people who worked for me, and I went to the sub departments and I asked them for their results. Not everybody got back to me, and I had to make up some results. That wasn't good either. I kind of knew what they were doing, but I wanted to make sure that things looked a little bit better. So I put things into my own format, and I made sure that I was 100% comfortable. That didn't go so well. I missed some of the facts. I bypassed people, and they didn't support me because I didn't ask them to be involved. I was trying to control everything. Are you trying to control your business? What aspects of your business have you not given to the Lord? What parts do you feel that you can tell a white lie on or cheat on? Have you decided to go ahead and throw something out there that's not quality? Why don't you take a moment to discuss faith with your group? I met a guy who could lie so well, it was just amazing. I believed him, and I prepared for something that he promised. He promised to deliver something, and I was waiting on it like a gullible person, and it never came, and the person, he just kind of disappeared. Finally, I ran into him again, and he was very good at his lies. He lied about his lie, and I believed him a second time. Would you believe that? And then he didn't deliver a second time. And then after a while, I said, okay, I just fell for it. And I started becoming a little bit cynical in terms of other people as well. I started not believing their promises. I started thinking that other people have been lying to me, and maybe I should get in the game and stretch the truth myself. Do you feel that you should start lying? Do you feel that God is lying to you when he makes promises, especially the promise where he says, I will never leave you or forsake you, and I will always be with you? Do you feel alone? Do you feel that God has left you? Do you feel that he won't keep his promises when he promises something to you? Why don't you discuss this with your group? Hearing what everybody else was doing in the science fair made me pretty intimidated, actually. I heard some incredible things that people were going to do, and I had no idea. So I came up with the idea that I was going to build a robot, and I didn't tell anybody about it. And so I went downstairs in my basement, and I got some boxes, and I got some coffee cans, and I put the coffee cans on the box, and those were going to be the arms. And I got a flashlight, and I put that in the face, and that was going to be the nose. And that's as far as I thought. That's as far as I got with that. I really wasn't confident with asking anybody for help, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I decided to go ahead and scrap that idea and went to another idea, and I went to another idea after that. And none of those came to fruition. What's your leadership style? Do you have an unconfident leadership style and work by yourself? Do you feel that the Lord will protect you when you are trying to perfect your business? Are you trying to hold on to things that you should let go of? Why don't you take a moment to discuss trust in your group? We got out the car like normal and got the kids out of their car seats like normal. Went into the store, and it was an electronics store, and purchased whatever we were going to purchase. But when I got out of the store, I noticed that the van doors were wide open, and that kind of alarmed me. So I rushed to the van, and when I got there, I noticed that the van was running. I had left the keys in the van, and the van was wide open, and it was just out there. Have you ever been so distracted that you didn't even know what you were doing? I mean, so distracted that you can't even hear what your customers are telling you, and all you want to do is just tell them, buy my stuff. Why don't you take a moment and discuss how you've been distracted and what you can do about it? When I first became a leader, I had to get on stage and I had to talk about something I was supposed to be the expert in. But instead, I wanted to talk about other people's expertise. In other words, I was name dropping famous people, and I would use quotes from them. And when I got off the stage, people were like, "What was that? You never said anything that you would do or any advice that came directly from you." I had become very noisy, but I didn't have the expertise, so I felt uncomfortable. Have you ever felt uncomfortable and became very noisy instead of showing your expertise? Do you know where your confidence should come from? If you can, take a moment and discuss the humble leadership style with your group. For some reason, there was wood laying around everywhere, it seemed like, and we decided to build a clubhouse. And we built this clubhouse that was 2 stories. At least it was 2 levels. I don't think it was actually 2 stories. We had a place that you can get in from the bottom level to the top. It had a window, and we thought it was just absolutely great. Well, when an adult came out and they saw this thing, they saw nails sticking out everywhere. And if you ever climbed up from the first floor to the next, you're going to get scratched up by a rusty nail. And so the adults had to help us kind of take the thing apart and give us a different revision. Have you ever built something for your business and it was just the version 1 of that? And tried to go out there and sell that thing? Have you ever thought about revising your business and going a little bit further and making things a little bit better a little at a time? Why don't you talk about excellence and refinement in your groups? Somehow at the dance, the girls would end up on one side and the guys would end up on the other. And it seemed like it was this huge canyon that you had to cross just to ask for a dance. When you did that, the person that you asked to dance may say no, and everybody in the room would know it. And so it seemed like it was this embarrassing, awkward kind of courtship that was going on that didn't seem to work out very well. Do you ever feel like that with your business and wanting to get feedback from your customers, and you don't want to feel that awkward glance or don't know how to get feedback from them? This is something that's very important, and you need to be able to talk to customers and get feedback on your business. Some people don't like to get feedback because they got bad grades in school. I know I did it sometimes. and I didn't like to get feedback, but now I love to get feedback. I love hearing if something can be improved. If you can, take a moment to talk about this with your group.